Hi guys, welcome back to the Addicted Bookworm, where my addiction is all over the internet. On this channel I do book hauls, book reviews, both physical and digital, audiobooks, and so much more. So in today's video, I'm going to be talking about what out of everything that has been going on in 2025, in 2026, I would love this one thing to not be so everywhere. And I know I'm asking for too much, but I really wish that this was not something that would continue. And that is giant book hauls. Giant book hauls. Now, I will admit, I'm guilty. Every now and then I will have a giant book haul. And, I'm doing mine because I've got this goal of this this giant horror library. This giant horror library. I want to have that. I want to have a giant horror library. And to do that, I got to buy a lot of horror books. However, I'm taking my time with it. In fact, I think it's on Barnes & Noble. I have four books in my cart. 4 books. And the other one, I think I've got 9. Hold on a second. I think one went away. Alright, I've got 9. So I've got a total of about 9. We got about 13 books. 13 books that I'm going to be ordering on the 2nd. So I'm spending probably about maybe close to maybe $150 or something like that. Which every time I buy like an ebook, or I buy a physical book on Barnes & Noble, I get points towards my next purchase, which is great because I'm saving up. And everything. But I have this thing about is like, the reason that I buy as many books as I do, why I have these hauls, is because I know I'm going to actually read the books that I buy. The difference between me and a lot of other people. A lot of other people, they will buy over 100, 200 books, and then 6 months later or a year later, they will unhaul them and do whatever. I'm not on BookTube and BookTok for aesthetics. I don't really care if people like the books that I get. I like the books I get, and that's all that matters. But I kind of like look at it and go, this would not be a problem if we did not know it was the byproduct of places like BookTok, Bookstagram, BookTube, but mainly BookTok, mainly BookTok, because that is where people go to get recommendations. I go there and make recommendations for horror books, not for the other stuff. And it's really annoying when you have people that spend hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars on books that they will not read. And I know some people say, well, it's their money. They can do whatever they want with it. Yes, I agree, they can do whatever they want with it. But if you look at people that are in extreme amount of debt, a lot of it is from buying stuff that they absolutely do not need. So it's annoying to like no end, especially if you have people that will get a book and they absolutely will not read it, and they're just, it's just there to look pretty on their shelf. And that is the major problem that I see, is it's just, oh, it looks pretty on the shelf and therefore I gotta have it and all that type of stuff. Um, when I was a little girl growing up, we were dirt ass poor. We were so dirt poor. It was not even funny. And we could barely pay our utility bills. So I would go to the library and check books out. That was what I did. um, so yeah. So, you know, you have that. You have that problem. So in 2026, I would really love to see less book hauls. I really would love to see less book hauls, because all it just does is it, it just irritates not just me but a lot of people. A lot of people literally are like, you're not going to read these books, because if you go look at like how many times a month that they will buy books, be like, yeah, you're never gonna get your TBR done. You're never gonna get it done. So this summer, I am going to actually work through my physical TBR. I've got several books that I'm going to be going through. I am I'm at 50% of this book, so that's good. And I am almost done with Turncoat. It might not appear to be almost done, but I am almost done with this book. And I am currently on, chapter 5 of this book. I really didn't read this during my day off because of the fact that I was just so dead tired from actually being at work and staying up all night. And it's not fun. You don't have a social life if you're staying up all night working. But I do a good job in reading pretty quickly. I use my breaks to read. I will read before my shift's supposed to start and everything. So I'm very good at reading, and I'm like that's just like what I do is I read books. Anyways, so we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens at the end. At the end of the summer, I'm gonna give you like how many physical books, that I read. With this order coming in, the number on my TBR is going to go up. Not a bunch, but some. And so yeah. So as of right now, I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I have 30 books on my TBR. That is before my Amazon order. So when that comes up, I will actually do an update on the number on my TBR, physical TBR that I've got. I'm not worried about my digital TBR. I'm more concerned about my physical TBR. So what my goal is, because I got 30, well, actually it's going to be more when the other items show up. But I have a feeling that by the end of the summer, I should have most of those books read. And then what I will do is, like, next month, like the first paycheck of next month is actually going to be the only time that month that I'm going to be buying physical books, because I want to get, especially in the realm of my cozy mysteries, I definitely want to get them, read, so I have that space available for when my horror books finally reach that section. But yeah, so I am going to end it there. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope it gave you some food for thought. But yeah, hauls are the worst. And as I said, the only reason that I even have hauls is because I know I'm going to be able to read all those books. And I'm hoping by the end of the year, by the end of the year, I will have all the books that are my physical TBR read and done reviews on. All right, I will end it there. I'll see you next time.